Welcome everyone to the Defender for Cloud in the Field. Today we are going to talk about a topic that we recorded a first version of this topic last year when Amit came to the show and described. It's about governance. But as you know, the Defender for Cloud team is always creating new things and improving capabilities. So today, to talk about governance, we have our great friend Lior Arviv that came to the show many times, and he is back to talk about governance. Lior, thanks for being on.
Hey Yuri, thanks for having me. Great to be back on the show.
Yes, my friend, it's awesome to have you again. Lior, as I said in the beginning, this topic came in last year when Amit presented, but it's been a long time and we did a lot of things. So let's first of all do a quick recap about this capability. So just give an overview about it, just to refresh our audience.
Sure. Just before going over the governance capabilities, let's recap on the challenge or the problem space. So Yuri, we know both that cloud and hybrid environments are rapidly growing, and threat actors and threat landscapes are evolving too. And security teams needs to deal with the overall security posture management and must ensure that misconfiguration and vulnerabilities are being addressed, right? So, and they have lots to do. They need to monitor the overall security posture and then identify the risk, understand which security issues need to be fixed. They need to identify the owner. They need to track the progress and many things. And we both know that part of the organization still maintain it manually. And often they are not the one that will resolve all the items that needs to be fixed. They need to set accountability. And we know that if something needs to be done, we need to set an owner or someone that will be accountable for fixing the issue. And at the end, to improve the overall security posture in the organization. It's difficult and it's hard to motivate people in the organization to resolve security recommendations. And for that, governance needs to be adopted by organization. Those processes and automated tools needs to be adopted so we can help the organization reduce the risk, resolve security issues, and at the end, reduce the mean time to remediate of security recommendations.
Yep.
In Defender for Cloud, we assist organizations with those manual steps and automate it in a simple way by three main things. The first one is to set accountability or the ownership. When security admins and security teams review those security recommendations, they can automatically assign someone. It could be a user or it could be a group, a team that needs to fix an issue. Then the second item is about tracking it over time or track the progress of fixing those issues. And the last one is to notify the relevant owners on active or overdue recommendations that need to be addressed. And all of it is actually automated within Defender for Cloud.
This is a great feature. I've received a lot of good feedback from customers that are starting using the governance. But as you know, large organizations, many times they need to deploy governance at scale. So we didn't have this out of the bat as soon as we released the feature. Now we do have, and this is one of the main reasons we are here today to talk about this at scale improvement. So why is this improvement so important and how it works?
So governance contains two main things. One thing is governance assignment, the ability to assign someone to fix a security recommendation. And the second item is governance rules, basically to generate those assignments automatically based on a condition. And until recently, to create a rule, security teams, if they wanted to create it on multiple subscription or multiple cloud connectors, they needed to do it one by one. With the recent announcement, we now provide security teams to configure those rules at scale. So it means that if you have Azure environments that managed by Azure management groups, or if you connected your AWS or GCP environments and you have the management boundaries or the management scopes like AWS master accounts or GCP organization, you can now configure one rule at a management scope and we will propagate to the relevant scopes. It could be subscription, accounts on GCP projects, so you don't need to create so many rules and do it one by one. You configure it on a management scope, and then it's automatically assigned on the relevant members. And another great benefit is the ability to get single pane of glass of all rules that are configured within the organization. You don't need to click on each and every scope. You get a centralized view of all the rules that are affected in the organization, and you can also see what is being applied on a specific scope through a centralized true at-scale experience that starts the at-scale journey within MDC.
That's amazing. That's a great improvement. And how do we implement this governance at scale?
So, as I mentioned, we are starting a new at-scale journey within MDC. So, through a dedicated governance rule center that are available in the MDC, you can create your new rule. Based on your permissions, you can select a specific management group or any other management scope, configure the conditions for the rules, like which recommendation I want to assign people automatically. I can select the remediation type frame. I can decide if to notify owners and the managers as well, and then apply it. And then it gets automatically propagated to the relevant members through the environment settings page.
And is this feature only available on the dashboard or can also be implemented via API?
So, great question. Customers, we invested a lot at the UI, so customer of course, can use the user interface, but we also introduced a new API for both governance assignments and governance rules. And customers that prefer to use API can also gain more details and more metadata on the API for better tracking and reporting capabilities.
Great. A lot of cool things added to the governance. Thanks, Lior, to share those. Now, let's go through a demo because I think that will be interesting to see this in action.
Sure. So for the following demonstration, I will act as both personas. I will be the security admin, and later on, I will be the fixer or the practitioner that needs to fix the security items that needs their attention. I'm starting my day. I'm looking at the security posture, the overview tile that I have, and I see the recommendations that I already assigned to someone. I see how many overdue out of the assigned. I see that I have unassigned recommendations, the ones that needs to be fixed, but no one is assigned yet on them. And I'm reviewing security recommendation, and I would like to focus on my campaign or my goal to fix misconfigurations that are relevant for a storage account and make sure that someone is going to take care for them. I already filtered by the resource type to focus just on the ones that relevant for storage account, and I would like to pick the storage account should be used private link connection because storage account in my organization should be react or connect to each other internally. Clicking on a recommendation, I see the misconfigured items, basically the ones that needs to be fixed, the misconfigured, the unsecured ones. I can pick one or two, and using the governance capabilities, I can assign the ownership. Clicking on the assign owner, I can select the user group or the user or group from Azure Active Directory or an external email address for the ones that needs to fix the item. It could be a group, and then someone else that review the items that relevant to the group can reassign it to someone else. Let me pick Ahmed, and who will be the one that will be assigned to remediate this specific resource. Then I can specify the due date. I can say that this storage account should be fixed within a week. And I can apply grace period, means that until that time frame, the secure score won't be impacted or the score won't be reduced by this specific resource or resources, depends how many I selected. On the email preferences, I can select if the owner will be notified on a weekly basis on active and overviewed tasks, or the manager of the owner can get also an email notification on regarding his team members that needs to fix those items. Clicking save basically assign Ahmed on this specific resource so he can basically go ahead and remediate the item. This part is actually the manual operation that it's good for small, medium businesses. And Yuri, we both know that for enterprise customers, it doesn't scale. We need a solution that allow security teams to generate those assignments or those tasks automatically at scale cross-cloud. So for that, we introduce a new way to automate those governance operations using the governance rules. Clicking on environment settings, there is a new tile for at scale instead of at scope. So you don't need to select a specific scope. You can create a rule and then select the relevant details that should be applied using this rule. Clicking on governance rules, I get the new experience that allow my security admins to automate such things at scale. Clicking on new governance rule, I can accomplish the same task that I did manually, but now using an automated way. So I can decide that a new campaign or a new mission cross-organization should be done, like fix storage account issues within 7 days. I can select a specific scope. Based on my permissions for the cross-cloud environments, I can see Azure, AWS, and GCP. And now we can also select a management group, basically a management scope, to apply the specific rules. And I can also exclude specific members if needed. So in that case, I can assign a rule on a management group and then exclude specific subscription, basically the members, from being evaluated. Priority help me to trigger or set the trigger actions or the priority for executing the rules. So rules on management scopes are being triggered before scopes, regular scopes. So I can select the priority and change the priorities of the rules in my organization. And then I have the condition, basically what should be executed when this rule is being applied. So I can select to take all the high recommendation and assign to someone. For this specific campaign, I would like to make sure that specific storage account recommendations are being addressed. So looking for storage, I can pick the relevant recommendations that I want to make sure that someone is being assigned to them. And then I can set accountability. I can select the owner by resource tag. So organization that maintain the owner, the alias or the email address using tags, like having tag on an Azure resource. So by selecting resource tag, you can select a specific tag where you maintain the owner. Or you can select an email address. So when this condition is being applied, we will create an assignment for the relevant owner to fix those recommendations. So in that case, I will add Miri to fix those items. I can select the remediation timeframe. So I set that within 7 days, all these recommendations and the corresponding resources should be fixed. And again, resources that are affected by this rule won't impact secure score because grace period is selected. And again, I can select the email notifications if to weekly notified relevant owners and the managers that issues are still there and needs to be fixed. and clicking on create. So this rule is created, I can apply the rule on existing ones, so existing resources that I have, or just from now on, I do want to apply it on existing resources in my organization. So the rule is being executed. And Yuri, we know that creating rules and assigning owners is just part of the equation. We also want to make sure that we track the progress of these rules at scale. So right from the rules at scale dashboard, I have the governance reports that allow me track the progress. So I can see the rule that I created, the fixed storage account issues within the 7 days, click on the rules itself and see how many recommendations are completed already, how many on time because the due date is still within 7 days, and they'll drill down to the relevant resources that are on time, unassigned, and so on, so I can basically track the progress of this rule. So up until now, I basically reacted or acted as a security admin. So I created rules, I assigned recommendations of relevant owners, and now see how the fixer or the workload owner gets those notifications and remediate and act upon those items. So 2 days ago, I'm now as the workload owner, I got a notification that a recommendation should be fixed. I ran the campaign and I got that storage account public access on my resources is overdue. I need to fix those 2 items and make sure the organization or the campaign specifically in the organization is being completed and everyone is happy, of course. Clicking on review recommendation, I get the list of recommendations that are assigned to me. So instead of seeing so many recommendations that are all not relevant for me as a workload owner, I get the ones that I need to act upon. Because the show my items toggle is selected and everything is basically filtered by my user principal name. I see the recommendations that I need to fix, and one of them is the storage account public access should be disallowed. Again, I have 2 resources to fix, and I get a filter view just for the resources that I have. So I have 2 resources. The one is diagnostic logging. It's relevant to my application, so I can go ahead and fix it using the quick fix capabilities, and that's it, it's done. But the second item, I think that it should be routed to someone else in my organization. And for that, I have the change owner and set ETA capability. I can decide that I'm not the owner of this specific resource. I know that Miri again need to fix this resource. So using the AAD lookup or any email address externally, I can specify the owner or the group. I know that Miri needs some more time to fix this issue, so I can add an estimation and add justification. Miri needs to fix this and save. And basically, I reassign the ownership because I'm not the one that needs to fix that one, but I will make sure that someone else gets the notification and fix the relevant item.
Lior, this was a great demonstration, a lot of things. We really went beyond this time to give a lot of granular options, so thank you very much for sharing this. Now, if I'm a customer and I want to learn more about the governance in particular, what should I go?
So that's a great question, and we do have many resources for our customers to learn and use governance capabilities. So I will walk through by 2 of them, the 2 main ones. So the first item is the diagnose and solve problem sections that we have on MDC. So we created kind of an FAQ-like article that add the relevant sections that every customer needs to know about governance, and also questions and answers that we frequently get from customers. So clicking on diagnose and solve problems, and then going to the onboarding and settings, you can select governance, assignments, and rules. So you can get the self-help article that help you understand what are the required roles and permissions, how to disable email notifications, frequently asked questions from customers, videos, and also resources like the official document that we have on the Docs platform that customers can read and get understanding of more advanced scenarios rather than the ones that I demonstrated. And all the things that I demonstrated earlier are based on customer feedback. So if you have any feedback, feature requests that you would like to share with us, we encourage customers to click on the give feedback button on the governance rules. Alongside to an explanation or documentation, you can share the idea, we review it, and basically continuously shaping our product to be much more effectively for our customers.
Excellent. And just to emphasize, that feedback button is something that is so important because it goes straight to the engineering team. So don't shy away from share your feedback. You always can go to our user voice as well if you want to share a feedback to the community, so that the entire community can vote on your idea. I'm gonna put the link here as well for our user voice. But if you want to reach directly to the engineering team, use the feedback button in the UI. Lior, this was a great episode. I really appreciate you taking the time to demonstrate all the enhancements that we have in the governance feature.
Thank you, Yuri.
All right, everyone, this is a wrap for today's episode. Please make sure that you subscribe to our Microsoft Security channel. I'm going to put the AKA link for our playlist where you can find all the episodes of Defender for Cloud in the Field. Also, we are now in the docs itself. So if you go to this URL below, you're going to see the docs page for Defender for Cloud in the Field. So if you prefer the experience of watching those episodes at docs, you can do that. And you're gonna also see that we are adding all the episodes as part of the official documentation. So you're gonna have the experience in different platforms as you prefer. Again, thank you very much for the audience. Stay tuned, we have a lot more to come.